Our next two guests on the Any Given Run Day podcast this week. One is the chair of Ballymun AC and multiple sub 3-hour marathon runner, including in Dublin and Chicago, in Dean Hayden. And our second guest is the director of coaching for Ballymun AC, as well as a Deca World Ultra Triathlon champion, 7 continents marathon finisher, continents not countries, and recently completed Mission 60 marathons on a treadmill in 60 days, raising over 60k for cancer research in Ger, Prendergast. Lads, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Hey, he's getting on.
Oh, good, lads. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us on, lads. Yeah, delighted to be on.
Ger, I've been giving out for weeks about running on treadmills being horrible, and that's why my training is bad. And you've single-handedly just ruined me. So that's the end of this week's episode of the Any Given podcast. Lads, these are phenomenal. And to do all that while running a club and coaching people and bringing people along. But as we have found out from the 6 years we've been running this show, we still haven't learned anything. But we do know that nobody starts where we are now. Dean, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you. Sub 3-hour marathons. Yeah. Is that where it started from you? How did you get into sport? How did you get into running?
No. So during COVID, like a lot of people, I think, during lockdown, kind of struggled. I would have had a football background, so I always played football, played in football teams, and during COVID then I kind of came away from that space. There was a thing in Finglas at the time. There was a couple of young person suicides, a kind of a cluster at the time. And I wanted, obviously, it turned out the 3 people were line by line, I think, in the school roster. So they were all in the same primary school class, believe it or not. So it was just impactful at the time. And I suppose I wanted to do something for youth suicide prevention. So the Youth Suicide Prevention Ireland were obviously putting out a piece for fundraising for the Dublin Marathon. It was a virtual Dublin Marathon that year. So we had to run the marathon within the 5k radius of Ballymun. So I said, listen, I'll try and get into marathon running, and I went on a training programme, and we raised a good bit of money for Youth Suicide Prevention Ireland. But running a marathon within 5k radius of Ballymun was mental. It was hard enough to do a marathon without having to do it in loops and loops and loops. So yeah, that's pretty much where I started. I think they were a group of lads that were kind of experienced in the morning. The Up the Flats Running Club, they were called at the time. And it kind of took over there. Been mad experience. I think I nearly died, to be honest. So yeah, that was kind of my introduction to running, really,
How did you find those first steps? And I mean it, those first steps, obviously from a footballing background, yeah, we know you can cover a little bit of ground or you can get up to the first K, but as you move into the half marathon, everyone thinks they can do it until they do a half marathon, and then knowing you have to do that twice. How was that transition from shorter, sharper into going long and obviously trying to keep that pace? How did you find that transition? Even though you had great experience from Up the Flats, we've seen a lot of them, actually, to mention them at the 5k on New Year's Day in Phoenix Park in the t-shirts. Yeah. It's a great group and a good club as well. How did you find that transition into long running?
Well, I was a centre half, so I never done much running.
I was the goalkeeper. It was me and you.
Yeah, good radar. Is that what we said? But yeah, I was oblivious, really. I fell into it more out of motivation for the fundraising than the actual running, I think. But it was I never done a half marathon event. I didn't have the opportunity because it was in COVID. So I remember doing a couple of runs completely naive. I kind of got up to, I think it was the max I got up to was 10 mile or 16k or something. And then I linked in with the lads, and the first day with the lads, we met at Super Value here locally, and they were like, turn up in the morning, we'll see if you show up. And I was like, I'm showing up, like, and, they turned out, they were like, yeah, we're doing 20 miles today, it's 33k into the Fino. And I said, what? And they had all camel packs and waters and gels and all of this mad stuff that I was like, look at these fucking idiots, like. And, I get into the park and I was seeing dead people, do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was my introduction to, right, this is marathon running, quick, the stuff you have to learn really quickly around hydration and fueling, and or you won't last long. So I suppose, yeah, that was me kind of, going from football and kind of half decent level of football to like your in the marathon now, you're running a 20 miler for the first time. So yeah.
Jeez, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, switching over to you, seeing as how you've ruined all my excuses, I'm going to absolutely nail you with questions now. Jer, how did you get into running? Have you always been part of athletics because to listen to Sean's declarations of your CV there, it's quite impressive. Or it, like everyone else, did you fall into it by accident?
Yeah, similar to Dean, I come from a football background. More like I didn't start playing for a team until I was 16, so I didn't really have a kind of feel for position and all on a pitch. I was a bit more like a street footballer, and that kind of, I suppose, shone through later. And when I was older, I started playing futsal, and I managed to play for the visually impaired international futsal team. I'm actually blind in my left eye, so I could qualify to play for the international team and got to travel playing for Ireland, which was class. But I'm more from that background as well. And what happened was when the futsal kind of finished up, our kind of funding ran out. So the futsal finished up. So I was looking for something new, and I'm a personal trainer as well. So I was training a group of women and a couple of lads as well. And they were actually doing a 5K in the Phoenix Park for, I think it might have been a cancer charity thing or something. So I said, I'll jump in, it'll be grand. I was very fit at the time. As I said, I was playing the futsal, I was fit and strong. I was doing a bit of weightlifting and bodybuilding as well. But the 5K thing, yeah, I nearly be passed out doing it as well. Well, I was the middle of summer, the height of summer, and I rocked up with Under Armour stuff, legs and arms fully covered, cotton t-shirt, pair of Nike Air Max, running in welly. It was just But I loved it as well, all the same. You know that way. There's a picture of me crossing the line. It looks like I was dragged through a bush. I was just in bit. But I loved it as well, and I knew I wanted to do more of that. And very quickly, kind of left all the weightlifting stuff and transitioned more into running. But I kind of found very quickly after that run, I found duathlon, because I like doing different sports. I found duathlon, and quickly after that, I found triathlon. So I was more into triathlon initially than just running alone. But over the last few years, then I kind of switched back towards running only really because of some of the events I've done. You mentioned some of them at the start there. They kind of made me train a lot more for running. But yeah, it wasn't never ran as a child. I suppose same as Dean and everyone else around Ballymun our age. There wasn't a club or anything like that specifically for running. I know Clonliffe for up the road there, but probably a bit too posh for us, isn't it?
Yeah. The only time, well, we feed the stereotypes. What? Oh, the only time we're running, you know what I mean? But I think it was seen as more of an upper class sport. I think in Ballymun athletics,
no difference to the likes of rugby and swimming as well, But there was no access to running around the area. It was all soccer and GA, and even GA, even GA was up at Ballymun Kickham's, was up around the airport. It'd be difficult for me to get there, But so football was what I fell into. But it's great to see now, obviously, with the likes of this club here for the juveniles, we're starting that kind of sport in the area, and there's more access for kids as well.
Have you guys seen since, and I talk about running as an explosion, because in areas like yours, Coolock, Sheriff Street, the inner city, since COVID, we have seen a lot of clubs come out. And as you said, and most of these clubs will admit, when you look at the 60s, 70s, 80s, athletic clubs were for those who were looking to run for Ireland, who were looking for Olympic qualifications. It was quite an elitist sport. And now we've moved towards mass participation events, marathons with ballads, 5Ks and 10Ks every day of the week, park run, you name it, it exists now. Have you noticed a big difference in your area for the want now to be part of a social running club, or for kids? And we say the same. We always looked at football. Myself and Sean were the same. It was football. And what's this running? I'm not running unless there's a ball. Are you seeing a shift now in terms of the number of people looking to be involved in these clubs and looking for a different sport other than just the football? And now that it's accessible, particularly since COVID?
Yeah, come here. You can look at communities like ours at Coolock. We've kind of sprung up. You've seen the inner city. They're probably a year or two ahead of us, all of us, really. But the appetite. I think COVID. I'm sure all your guests mentioned COVID, but it was a kind of an eye opener. We call our communities disadvantaged communities, but we're after realising we're probably more advantaged in the sense of we have huge resilience to be able to take on these sports, like the hardship we have to go through on a normal day. Sport is just that release, and I suppose it's we've allowed ourselves. I suppose we've allowed the sport to become more accessible. Because we realise that we can do it, and we're able to do it, and it's quite endurance running. Like, it's in the name. Like, you need a lot of endurance, but we endure every day in these communities. So, I think it's a no-brainer why we wouldn't move into this space.
And when did that click for you, Dean, to set up? Did you set up Ballymun AC, or did you just get involved with that then and start bringing your juvenile program and stuff into that?
No,
When did all that happen?
there was lots that came before it. Like, I think this club was pretty much pinned on it, like a merger was. So you had Ger's kind of Ballymun Triathlon Club at the time, and he was coaching his group of over in the gym there. You had the Up the Flats Running Club, which was a group of males that predominantly ran marathons. And then after, kind of towards the end of COVID, then we created the Ballyyoung, it was called. So it was a juvenile running club, and they were all running kind of simultaneously. So we just said, let's come together. We got onto Ger, myself, and then there was Ken Copley, who was kind of the main leader and there was a couple of founder members with Ken within that morning group. So we kind of said, let's come together and let's bring the three groups together. And that's how really Ballymun AC evolved and was created. I'm right there. I'm
Yes,
not leaving anyone out. Yeah. No, there's no people that, like, we're sitting here, but this is the big thing in terms of the club. Like, it's built on people. So I think without people, you wouldn't have something like this.
Yeah, it's well kind of set up from the start. Like, we had plenty of meetings before. It wasn't just a group of people getting together and then going running. I mean, we've set up a committee with proper roles, all that kind of stuff. We got good coaches in as well. I think we've about 20 coaches altogether. Like,
22 coaches
22
now, yeah.
coaches.
Oh, wow.
So it's a
Wow.
lot of work in the background as well by all the committee members, like the Dean and Kev Kelly and all. So it's that's probably why it's been so successful as well.
Well governed, I think, yeah, in that sense. And we didn't want to have the attitude. There's a bit of an attitude we can take in Ballymun. It's like, we'll just half-arse do it, because we're from Ballymun. Not like, no, we're not taking that approach. We're going to do this right. We deserve the best for people. So that's kind of where the kind of good governance and the good setup and making sure everything was done right came from.
Dean, can I touch on because basically, to go back to how you got into running, it was to juvenile suicides, which in any community can do two things. It can bring a community closer together, but also can tear families and everything else apart at the same time.
Yeah.
As you've seen, and as you guys have said, in a disadvantaged area, and when people are going through hardship, you tend to see these cases a lot more, and the numbers will speak for themselves. Do you think, and particularly when it comes to running as a form of meditation and endurance running, have you seen a big difference in what it's doing for the youth in Ballymun, based on what you got into running over? Does that add an element of importance to showing up as a committee, the coaches showing up for the kids and the club, and why it is we give so much time to our hobbies? Have you seen the impact it's making in the community and how it's helping people?
Yeah, like, absolutely. Like, we're very unique in terms of the model that we have in the club for juveniles. So you would remember from growing up as a child in different sports, you'd always remember a situation where a manager, you'd be in a dressing room and the manager would always pass a kid. He'd never ask him for subs, or you'd have an awareness of what's going on in that child's background. Like, and we kind of recognized that early on. Like, there's a big financial barrier to a lot of young people engaging in sport. What sport does for people in terms of, like, we just adopting and introducing a philosophy at the minute where it's human before athletes. So we're trying to make good people at the end of the day. Forget about the athletics and the running. It's like we're trying to support people to be better people at the end of the day. So how that translates for a child, really, like the soft skills they learn, trying to, like, the coping skills, the building the resilience, the communication, how to operate within a team, like all of those sort of skills that you learn that you can carry with you into your life. It's bigger than just running on athletics for young people and the skills they learn. us and our model, we've kind of really focused. So it was an idea that came from one of our early committee members, and he'd be very business minded, Jason Thompson.
Yeah.
And he came up with the idea. It's like, you know, the normal sports model of kids always propping up first teams and adults. How do we flip that model on its head and we get our adults to prop up our children and our juveniles? So we come up with a quick model of integrating a child's membership into an adult's membership. So for every adult that joins the club, they sponsor a child to run for free. So our children will never face a financial barrier from AI, affiliation, insurance, competition fees, and club gear. We'll never have ask a parent for anything, and that's kind of one of our huge values. But like once we remove the barrier, we know the impact that sport then can have for that child, you know.
Absolutely brilliant. And how long have you brought in that model now? And is that something you're seeing going in other kind of clubs in the area, or is that something you want to bring out to others, or how's that working?
Yeah, I know it's a big thing for the motivator for the podcast. We'd love to see a similar model rolled out across the country. Like I'm not saying every club can govern in their own way with their own autonomy, but to even to dip the toe in the idea of like, let's try and remove some of the financial barriers. Like different clubs have different overheads and spends, and the bigger clubs are different communities. But particularly for communities like ours, disadvantaged communities, where you know that is a genuine block. Like we suffer with a huge level of deprivation in Ballymun, like down to the point where we know from other sectors and other areas of our work, we work in this field, but we'll be delivering food hampers and supporting families for like utility bills and stuff. Sport isn't even on the radar. Like it's survival for a lot of them. So um we definitely we pride. This was brought in from kind of the first committee meeting day one, and it still stands. And it comes with its challenges. Like you know, you always have to have the same amount of adult members as children, or you're kind of what are we going to do here? But we've been looking at like it's a huge amount on the children, but Jerry will probably go into the impact the adults have as well. Like without our adults, we wouldn't have children. So you know,
And Jared, see, there's like different programs. Like you talked earlier about like a part of this came from like a marathon group coming in, but like you have Fit for Life adult programs there and different things like that to suppose bring in adults of all different fitness levels. So you do have that one-to-one from adult to child and have a child come in and be free access to Ballymun AC.
Yeah, like in terms of, you don't see it, it's not out there, like, but it's probably just clubs aren't aware. Like it's like all the clubs popping up now are all new clubs and new to running. So they're probably just following the model of, the GAA clubs and the soccer clubs where you pay your subs, the hit pays your subs. So it's probably just not even in their thinking at all, like not aware of it. So I think it's brilliant. Like the lads are youth workers. You can probably tell from listening to him. They're very passionate about youth work. No, it's brilliant as well. Like, and they brought that from the get go. Like, and that obviously they came up with that model. So I just think we're probably very lucky that we have people like that thinking that way, and it would be nice to see others, do that. But it's just probably not in their thinking, because they're following other models like soccer, Ghana, etc. Like, so it would be nice to go. But we do have, as you mentioned there, the Fit for Life. We have some good runners like Dean, sub-3 runners as well. So we've a mixed bag of people here. But the people we do have, that like really supportive and helpful when it comes to supporting that kind of model and supporting our juniors. Like they love it, like just like we do. And they're proud to be part of it, like as well.
For kids to stick with running, more of a curiosity thing on that, man. And like we all talk about, we grew up with football, and every week, sometimes it's hard to get people to go training unless there was a match day. And I know my old football team growing up was if you didn't go training, you didn't play, and our manager was strict on that. No matter how good, bad, or indifferent you were, if you didn't go, you didn't play. And as the adults,
Sean
obviously you were
because he was useless. He used to burst tires and everything.
I played every week.
Didn't make training, did you not? Okay.
But for adults, obviously you have different 5Ks, 10Ks, marathon goals. We talked about Dean going to Chicago and all the rest, going for sub 3 hour goals. For juveniles, for kids, and I saw there's a program at somewhere, I think like 4 to 8 year olds. How I suppose your job of coaching, keeping it fun and entertaining, how's that been?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different groups. Like obviously the 4 to 8s are the mini runners, but at that age, like yeah, this is something we're bringing in now as well, and it's taken a couple of years to see this. And this is where you would follow with a model. It's not trying to, recreate the wheel. It's seeing what's working in other sports like rugby and soccer, and that's the long-term athlete development plan that they use. So it's as you just mentioned there, it's just making it. It's called fundamentals, capital fun. Just all games, making they come back, because they're not going to come back if there's too much pressure to like win or medal or whatever. So it's just all about trying to make it fun for them, make sure they want to come back. Because if there's pressure, they don't want to show up, then you've lost them forever, pretty much. And it's obviously then when they get a bit older, they can transition into probably a bit more of a specialist area, whether it's hurdling or sprinting or long distance running. Because at that stage, then they'll have a passion for it, they'll have a love for it, and they get to choose what they want to do. So it's trying to bring it back to that and try and implement those things where I suppose our job is to make it fun for them and keep them coming back. If we can do that, the rest will look after itself.
A lot of times in a community, people say, and I'm a big believer in it, and it probably comes from my footballing days back younger as well. If you can see it, you can be it, and by having a club and good players and playing with those players, or in this case, running with people like yourselves, people get the belief that they can do it too, and they can participate, and there's an opportunity for them there. Pressure for me is always a privilege. It's good to be under pressure. It's a sign that you're doing something right. Do you guys feel that pressure in terms of your performance, in terms of how you carry yourself, or is there just a pride that we can run well and encourage other kids to be better than we are and be faster than we are, without, as we said, keeping it fun, but to encourage people? Is the pressure of having the club and the pressure of showing up for these kids keeping you guys honest? Because I know myself, I'll fall off the wagon if the wind changes direction, but you guys have a lot more people counting on you. Is that pressure a privilege for you guys? Does it keep you honest and keep pushing you even more?
Yeah, like, come here. Yeah, I would have seen a big time over the last couple of months. I think it keeps you honest to remind you why you're doing what you're doing. Like, it comes with a lot of kind of a commitment level like this comes at a cost on the end of something else. It's usually family or work or, it's hard to get the balance of everything right, I think. We've had more fights at home, but you're running out the door to do for the club to do this, or you're going to a competition with the kids, or like I've even tried to insert my own kids into the club so I can stay attached.
Balance the boat.
I'll be killed for it, but I think it is you can get a lot of burnout when you go through cycles of I'm on the floor this month, I'm wrecked from the level of commitment, and then you see something like a child perform, or you hear of it, like one of our children, our first child, going to a national final for, say, high jump that we never even planned on. We said we'd be an athletics club, but we were always primarily focused on running. And you see a child getting to a high jump national final, it's like, Jesus, that's why we're doing what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? And it does, as you said, it keeps you really honest. But yeah, it does. It's a tough balance, but it is, I suppose, if it is it's an important journey we need to kind of, I suppose, stay on.
We had Ken from Cherry Orchard Running Club on the podcast last year, and one of the things he talked about was having other people in the area do these mad kind of runs, and him being like, oh, if they can do it, I could do it. And then people in the club starting that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
Drop yourself in there.
I'm gonna even wing another way into it. Today, even I was talking about this mad race that I would love to somehow do that I'd never do to someone at work. 7 continents, and this is the one in 7 days, Jerry, you did. How did this all come about? Just selfishly want to know about this one.
So actually, when that one came about, I had already signed up to Marathon des Sables. So I was kind of at that. It was funny. It was all happening in 1 week, actually. So on the Thursday, actually, even before that, the day before that, I think I had something happened in work where I got a different basically got a promotion in work, so I had to cancel an event that I booked in September, which would have been 30 Ironmans in 30 days, and it was in Italy. So I pulled the plug on that one, And obviously then I needed something to do, and I've always been involved in Marathon des Sables. And just like, you know, the universe provides, an email popped up the very same day for Marathon des Sables. So bang, and I applied for that. That was on the Thursday, I think. And then on the Saturday, I got a call from a friend of a friend who's actually organising the Seven Continents race, and asked me would I get involved. And but the biggest barrier for me was the financial side of it. It's a big financial struggle to go there. Like, that's the biggest barrier. But I just like, again, it's like that, you know. It's like divine timing almost. You know, I just felt, you know, I should. It's like a bucket list job. I always want to do this one as well, but as I said, the money. So can I somehow raise the money? So I went upstairs. The boss was still in bed at that stage, so I was brought her up a cup of tea and tried to butter her up.
Don't worry, I've done all the washing. What do you
I'm
want?
taking notes. I'm taking notes how this works, Ger. How
You
do I
stay in
get
bed,
this?
love. Don't worry, you stay in
The
bed.
gap was spotless. And yeah, so I was saying to her, you know, I'll do this and I'll do that, try to get the few quid up. And it was possible, you know, way, still a big commitment. But I had a few quid from something else and the money from the 30 marathon or the 30 Ironman thing. So anyway, I managed to get on the start line anyway. And you're paying over time as well. So so then I had the two of them going at the same time. But the Marathon des Sables, I think I applied for or got onto the two of them around summertime, and the 777 was coming up in November, and then the Marathon des Sables was the following March or something. So the 777 was first. So like I've been, you know, training for the past 10 years I've done 10 Ironmans in 10 days. I've done that twice. So it's not like
Just twice.
Yeah,
Just twice.
Just
just
yeah.
twice.
You have to
Why'd
make
you
sure you
stop at-
counted the days
stop
right,
at
so you
two?
did it
Yeah.
again.
We just
Yeah.
stop at 2. You're getting soft.
Yeah. But what I mean is, like, you know, you have that in the tank kind of thing. It's not like you start training, you know,
Yeah.
you know, you do train specifically, but I knew I could do it, you know, that way, the 7 marathons. So that side of it was all right. But I was probably a little bit overconfident, if I'm honest, because when I got there, the biggest difficulty of the whole thing was the travel. Like, so I think it was a flight to Doha and then a flight into South Africa. So it starts actually first day starts in Antarctica. Closest point to that is South Africa. So we go through all the debrief on, I think it was on a Wednesday or something. And the lads were saying we were meant to start on the Friday, but it's hard to get into Antarctica because the weather is so changeable, you know. And you were saying today is lousy there, and Friday, when we're supposed to be going, is lousy. Tomorrow is a bit better, so get your gear ready, go home, get your gear ready. We're going tonight, and we'll be there in the morning for the first marathon. And so we flew in, it's a 5-hour flight, landed, do the marathon in Antarctica, and basically get out of Dodge and back in South Africa. And I think there was like again, 5-hour flight back. We landed at something like 4 a.m. and the next marathon started at like 8 a.m., you know what I mean, South Africa, and banged that out. So it's literally just traveling off the plane, do the marathon, back to the airport, back on the plane, go to the next location and do them that way. So that, not just for me, for everybody, was definitely the hardest part of it. Like,
That 1v1 comfy seat on the plane you're on each time.
Did you get exit rows, Jared? Did you pay for the upgrade?
it's a chartered flight, so it's like business class, but it was a real old plane as well. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm like 6'2", so even, you know, that you could get your feet up was great, but you could never get horizontal. And it's like any other plane, it's noisy, it's movement. So you'd be sleeping, you just drift off, next of all the thing would hop and you'd be awake again.
Get your gear on.
You got like minutes of sleep over the whole week, you know, that way. So therefore, and as well, I'd be like plant-based. So the food I was getting on the plane, they would just feed me watermelon all week. I was like, give us something. Yeah,
Jesus.
I was living on water and then had no sleep. Like, but I was great crack though as well. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. But the runs were all fine. I was knocking them out in like, I think I've done 3:14, 3:15 for most of them. And then I picked up a little bit of an Achilles injury on the last one. It was something like went to a 5:15. I just basically had to walk a lot of it. But outside of that, it was great.
He loves to play these things down, like, you know, he's that
Yeah,
humble.
no,
Build on.
I'm not
you
letting
know.
him. I'm not letting him away with it. I'm going to ask more questions. So, Jer, of all the 7, then, Because for me, I travel to and from Africa the whole time. By the time I get
Yeah,
home, it's 26 hours of traveling. My
yeah,
ankles are swollen. Never
yeah,
mind running a marathon in between.
yeah.
As you got to marathon 3, marathon 4, have you obviously running in Antarctica is a spectacle, and we had Jer Copeland talking about it, and he absolutely loved it, and it was a fantastic story. How did you feel? Had you a favorite one? Different cultures? Did you get to experience any of the cultures on the way, or how was the
Um,
rest of the journey?
well, we had a few days in South Africa before it started, and then Miami when it finished. So both of them were class, but in between it, it's literally run, plane, travel, off, run, and just continuous. So, like, let's say we were in Cartagena, we were in Istanbul, we got to see none of that. It's literally just the run course. And even the Istanbul when we landed, and it was like I think we were due to start at 8, but when we got there, it was along the banks of the Bosphorus thing. But there was loads of people fishing off the pier thing into
Get
the
a hook
river.
in the mouth.
It's
People
literally
reeling you in.
you wouldn't let us run because we wouldn't stop asking. So we had to wait until they were all gone. So that was midnight before we started, and it was pissing rain, it was lashing, it was freezing, the wind. So they brought the course down to a 1K out and 1K back. So everyone hated that, but I loved it, like, because I train here on a 500-meter course with the lads all year round, like, so I loved it, like. But there's a lot of little things like that you mentioned there, your feet swelling and all on the plane. I had alphas and my feet were in bits. They came through the toes, just my feet swelled. Um, lots of little things like that. Yeah, I remember being in the air on the airplane, and just to get my feet up, I put my head down the opposite end and put my feet up the on it. The plane jumped and it just slid off. So we'd be doing anything just to trying to look after yourself. But yeah, some crack. Like
Jeez. And did the Alphas last all 7 marathons?
I got a pair of what's the Euros? I had alphas, and what's the other ones the same?
Vapors.
Yeah, the Vapos.
Yeah.
I brought a brand new pair of Vapos for it. And the lads actually got me a pair of like Gore-Tex New Balance with grip on them, trail runners.
Hmm.
For
We
Antarctica.
thought for Antarctica,
Yeah.
we needed to be properly wrapped. Seen a picture of them in a pair of vapor flies with the breathable vapor
Yeah,
flies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Frostbite
But
on the feet.
they tell you can't wear anything like that, anything with kind of the mesh on top. You have to have like some kind of coverage there, because it's the wind in Antarctica. The wind picks up the wind chill, like you lose toes and everything. Like, but when we got there, it was -16, I think, but there was no wind. The sun was just, I mean, I got sunburned, even though it was -16. I got sunburned on my lips and face in Antarctica, but there was no wind. So I was like, fuck this, I'm wearing my vapors, like, lash them on. And then I wore them on that one, and then the last one in Miami. And I loved them. They had the club colours, they were white, black, and yellow, like. And
Yeah,
then I had,
to
after I
make you
had,
go faster.
yeah. But when I had a shower, there was outdoor showers in Miami. Had an outdoor shower over there. Didn't I leave them there? I was
Oh.
fuming. But they
No.
just some homeless dude going around Miami with a pair of brand new vapors on. Yeah, fuming.
Same continent as Miami, but a little bit further north and probably a lot colder. Dean, sub 3 hour, 2:55. I think I read Chicago Marathon.
Yeah.
How does that marathon compare to? I know you did Dublin as well. Like I put this obviously Chicago, the major, won the big 6, well 7 now.
Yeah.
How did that compare?
Yeah, it's majors are different animals, They're like there's parts it doesn't really matter what part of the course you're on Chicago, you literally can't hear yourself think, like, in terms of the volume of the crowd, and it can kind of give you a bit of a wobble, especially when you're like 20 miles in and you're starting to kind of feel it a bit, and you can't even, you get a bit kind of disorientated with the noise, and the spectators and the supporters are a different level, like over in the likes of the Chicago and the majors, like it's just a different level altogether. It was mad, just the whole run up. Like we'd about 10 lads went over, and we just outside of the running even we had some bond, and it's just a trip of a lifetime in the sense of the memories, and it's just different gravy, I suppose. Yeah, the real was set. We trained for, I think we trained for 250 with another guy, and that kind of went out the window very early. I think it's difficult with Chicago because you don't have you don't have the GPS with the high skyscrapers. So
Oh wow!
So you really have to go the old school pace, and you can't rely on a watch in that sense. So, you're off pace. You think you're on a particular pace, and then you look at the watch and it says you've done a minute and 23 kilometre or something. You're like, no, there's something off there. The Strava attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first 6K we didn't know where we are, whether we were too fast or too slow, and it's just learning. I'd be telling people, that's anyone that's going to Chicago now, it's like, learn your splits based off a stopwatch, like old school, because your watch probably will bail on you.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's mad. I've heard the problems around Ireland, obviously, middle of nowhere and all the rest, but
Yeah.
never because the buildings are too tall. But I didn't get in this year, so hopefully next year if I get back in, I'll remember that tip.
Yeah, it's different level, like the expo, and it's like the expo is like a city, like like some crack we mad just randomly seeing Jamie Carragher at the expo, and madness, just everything that mad that could happen happened. You know what I mean? So, and it was great. We had a friend that moved to Chicago a couple of years ago. He's like a indoor footballer or something. So we met him and stuff. So he was our tour guide for the time we were out. It was great trip, But
Give you the bug to start ticking them off now.
yeah and no. Like I always said it. I won't do the whole paying mad money to get into a major. I'll only go if I qualify on time. I think that's kind of gives you a bit more of a competitive incentive. I think I'll only do a major if I time qualify. I don't think I'll pay thousands to get into one.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Jer, when we look at again, and we're touching on doing fantastic things, and again, I'm touching on how you've ruined my excuses for training in Africa. You sound, and again, you're very modest. 10 Ironmans, 10 days, twice. So we know you have a lot of spare time, let's say. We won't call you crazy. We'll just say you have a lot of spare time. Looking towards 60 marathons in 60 days. What was there nothing on the telly where what drove you? What drove you to this kind of craziness, and what spurred this idea on?
There was a few different things, and it all kind of came together. So you apply for it. It's a Guinness World Record as well. So I applied for it the year before, and I fit it in if I could somewhere. I didn't put a date on it. And I finished up in. I have a gym out here in Ballymun. I had a gym for 21 years, so I finished up there in September. So I had all that time then, and I kind of wanted to, start doing different things professionally in terms of business and stuff like that. And so as part of that, it was my new kind of venture it's called Gym Live, and as part of that, it's kind of doing stuff around resilience. I have another thing called Resilience by Choice, and the podcast is part of that. So lots of different things were happening, and as part of those, and to try and kick that off, I decided to do the world record then, and everything just lined up in terms of the date. So I think it was November 1st. So every marathon would be, let's say, day 20 would be the 20th of November, and so on. So the timing was perfect. My calendar had freed up. I was trying to raise this profile on social media, all that kind of stuff. And I just honestly just love doing these kind of challenges as well. You mentioned the 10 Ironmans in 10 days. I done the first one of those. It's like an Ironman, like 3.8K swim, 180K bike, 42K run every day for 10 consecutive days. And there's another version of that where you take the same distance, but you do all the swims straight onto the bike and then straight onto the run. So it's like 38K swim, 1,800K on the bike, and a 420K run. So I boxed them off in
You
terms.
can see a mental health illness here, can't you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Extend your youth working, Dean. Jesus H.
Netflix is only €17 a month. Jer.
Yeah.
How does that even break down, that 38K swim, like over what, 3.25 days, third days, and then 3.25 for the next bike? How does that even work?
Oh no, it's like one go, one shot. Everything is like, it's a start line and a finish line. So straight. So they do it in a pool, because if you've done it outdoors, it takes
Dead.
something
Dangerous.
24
It is
hours, right?
dangerous.
So it's
Yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
dangerous. So they do it in a pool. So I had it done in something like 12 hours, straight out of the pool, onto the bike and off you go kind of thing. Finish the bike, off the bike, shoes on, 420k. Now, obviously, you're going to sleep, unless you can stay awake for 10 days. It took me 9.5 days. But like, if you can sleep, for an hour, or I think the longest I
Look at
slept was
Sean
probably.
catch up Sluice.
I could look at down 1,800 kilometers and then 420 run after the 1,800 kilometers for the after doing 12 hours in the pool and somehow not dying.
Yeah. I mean, you're not sprinting it. You know what I mean? It's nice and handy.
Not
But look,
sprinting.
yeah.
It's
Doesn't
handy on
matter.
a fucking bike. An electrical bike or a car, I mean.
Jer, I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't have the energy to watch you for 9.5 days. Never mind, do it. My God. And
Yeah.
so, did you have a course? And I want to touch on, because you mentioned that you like the loops, and we'll come back. We're not letting you away with the 60 marathons.
No,
we'll
don't
come back to that.
you get on.
But when you did you pick a route around Ballymun? Did you say, I actually can't do this, I want to cycle north, south, I want to do whatever?
Oh,
How did you lay out?
Or shop for this?
No,
You
the
had to
proper
travel for
races.
this.
The
Yeah,
proper
it's a
races.
proper
It's called
race.
Deca UK. It's an actual race. And do you know Jerry Duffy? Do you know Jerry Duffy?
We've
No,
heard the
great.
name, all right, but we
He's
haven't had him on the
famous for
podcast.
being
Jerry,
the
if
first
you're
Irish
listening, we'll see you next week.
He's a good lad. He'd be famous around those circles, triathlon circles, for being the first man to do it. I was the second, and I'd be the first man to do both. So it's a proper race in the UK, and I'd be one of 5 people in the world that won both of them. So that was another nice little.
My God. So
Jer-
you get out of the pool and you're on your way. So do you just? I'm trying
Like,
to get
not
my
even
head
get out
around
of the
it.
pool there, hang on. He's racing someone in the pool. Like, are you looking head on someone like 5 hours in? Like, 5 hours, I'll be out of this pool before you, mate, and just keep on going. Like, how do you even race someone in that?
Yeah, there's people who took 24 hours. You know what I mean? I'd say there was about 40 people in it, in the pool. So you're sharing lanes with probably, 5 people or whatever. So yeah, you're just lapping them and all, and it gets a little bit, get on me fucking way kind of thing. Yeah, some crack. It was good.
So when you come off the bike, because Sean's seen me doing an Ironman, and that turned him off ever doing one because it was horrific. But when you go to sleep off the bike, you're just obviously in your Lycra. Do you have anything, saddlebags, food? How do you fuel? Is it self-sustaining? Do you have a crew with you? What happens?
No, you can go light on the bike because it's like, and that one in particular was like an 8-mile loop, and there's back at headquarters. Then there'd be like gazebos and stuff like that. So you can do, as many of them as you want, get off and have some hot food, go again. So it's basically like you're out to work all day on the bike, that way, and come back, have something to eat.
12-hour shift on the bike.
Yeah, 12
I
hours.
actually don't know that way, Jer.
But it was deadly. Like it's an opportunity to do something really really cool like that, like it's cycling through the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting off for a couple of hours, sleeping, going again. I know it is difficult, of course, but it's very lucky to be and privileged to be able to get an opportunity to do it. That way. I suppose when it gets difficult, that's what you're telling yourself as well.
That is, I don't even know where to go from here, because we haven't even touched on the running part. Because those who have done a triathlon, when you get off the bike and everyone talks about the jelly legs, what are your legs like after 10 of them? How do you get motivated for
Legs are
400
all
plus
right.
kilometers?
The legs are all right. It's more the undercarriage. The undercarriage.
Oh my God.
Well, how do you
At that-
adjust it, I suppose, for the run after?
Yeah, actually dying to get off the bike and wishing you could get off and run. Yeah.
And selling the bike
On the
afterwards.
bike, I think the bike is obviously the longest part of it. I think I spent nearly 5 days on the bike, that way. And you're getting off probably, let's say, 5 times for probably an hour or 2 hours at a time, kind of thing.
Because it was a race, and you can see how other competitors are doing every time you come in for a lap, probably, can you? Are you afraid to sleep? Are you afraid to get a bit of hunger because you want to stay ahead? How do you manage that? And the pink
there's an
elephants and everything you're probably seeing during the night.
Yeah. No, there's definitely an element of that. It's competitive, and obviously the people who can, I suppose, keep moving when they're eating, sleep the least are going to do better. But of course, on the flip side, if you're physically not able to do that, and you're pushing yourself beyond what you're capable of, you'll be in trouble as well. So it's trying to find your limits and not overdo it as well. So I mean, there was a point. I think the longest I slept was a 3-hour shot I think it might have been 3.5 hours. And it was because I mean, at the start of that race, I was only sleeping for half an hour one night. 3 days later, I allowed myself an hour, and then later into it, I needed 3.5 hours. That way. So it's trying to manage it all, and like you'll never know before you start. It's kind of feeling your way into it, that way. But it's trying to do that as well, and not, put yourself in a position where you can't recover from doing too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, how did the run go? I have to imagine the organising this didn't want you running too far because sleep delirious and all the rest that may come into at this stage. Like I say, the longest step is 3.5 hours.
Mm.
If I did one night like that, I'm going straight for the coffee for half the day until then. So, like, how did the run work?
Yeah, so it was like a mile loop. So everything was all in one. It's like a little village, right? So headquarters, like a little village, and you have gazebos there, food there, and then you'd have your own personal kind of set up there. I brought a gazebo for this one, and a tent. But so that's the headquarters. You'd go, let's say, out to the swim was in a pool, and then you actually had to drive back. So it was a short drive back, and then you straight onto your bike and go. But from there, it's like, out and back as long as many times as you want. And then when you finish the bike, park your bike in headquarters, and the run is just off. It's like a caravan park, actually, sorry. And then the mile run is around the outskirts of the caravan park. But it's like, actually, the run course was weird. It was only a mile, but you had absolutely every kind of surface in that 1 mile. You had like the kind of pebbles that you'd have on caravan.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
that. You had asphalt. You had grass. You had trail. You had little hills. You had downhills, all within 1 mile. So it was a bit of everything. It was gas. But yeah, it was quality as well. Like,
My maths isn't great, but over 250 laps of that.
don't ask me. I don't know. I just when they told me I was finished. Actually, for the last lap, they actually did that. Like, I suppose the organisers had the tough job of, obviously it's all chip time. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
can say that, hey, you're on your last few laps or whatever, and then for the last one, they get you to run the opposite direction so you can kind of say goodbye to everybody. But yeah, like they organised it very
Class, because
well.
you can track it on the DECA website. So
Yeah.
we were at in Ballymun AC tracking, saying Ger's second today, he's third today, or he's back into first, or he's into seventh, and
Deadly.
it's the quality, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it was brilliant. Like,
And you dropped to seventh. Feck's sake.
Come on, Ger. No better than that.
Come
Well,
on, Jer.
I have to redeem
I
myself.
don't even think I'll put you second at worst.
I was toured out of the pool, second of the bike, and first after the run.
Yeah.
Ah,
We'll go back to the
unbelievable.
running, lads, you know.
So I wanna go back to the 60 marathons, because you said you started on the 1st of November. That means when all the Christmas prep is going on, you're coming up with the tea going, it's all right, love, you stay in bed. I'm just going out for about 3.5, 4 hours onto the treadmill. Don't worry, I'll see you in a while.
Yeah.
How was it during the Christmas to keep that motivation when everyone else is kicking back, enjoying all the finer things? How was it to maintain the discipline, I suppose, and the want to keep going during this, and obviously for the want for a world record as well? How was it?
By Christmas, like, you're well into it. You know what I mean? Discipline hasn't really come into it. It's just like your body's just so used to it. It's just pure habit at that stage. And then you had the added bonus of people being off work at Christmas.
Yeah,
So you
come and
more
see the
interact.
final parts. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the most difficult part of it was the traffic. Like, some days it was a 2-hour drive to get there because you're going across the M50. It was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, that's the first thing you've said in the podcast that everyone went, I can relate to that, man.
Yeah. On a good day, it was an hour getting over. So anywhere in between an hour and 2 hours. But then by Christmas, that was all gone, and you're bombing over in half an hour. It was brilliant. So that was my Christmas present: an easy drive over, hang out on marathon, and an easy drive back. Like, it was, really enjoyed that Christmas period, the week before, and that kind of, or the few days before, and then the week, between Christmas and New Year's, and then New Year's as well. So it was easy, but at that stage, that way.
And you had the treadmill set up in the gym, and some days you had people kind of running the stuff along beside you, I suppose, for extra motivation to keep going.
Yeah. We had 3 treadmills going. The likes of Dino and Ken and loads of the club members came over, took shots on the treadmill. Some of the days were extra special. Like I think it was we had a club day on a Saturday, I think before Christmas,
Yeah.
and then Christmas Day itself was loads of people in and out as well. And then the final day was just an absolute spectacle, wasn't it? It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I was only talking about this area with my wife and the secretary. We're planning something about tomorrow, and I we're saying like I actually cried while watching that, just watching it, like because it was a different level of
Yeah, all the
like
stuff I mentioned earlier, the 777 marathon, Marathon des Sables, I was over the finish line on my own. I just finished. I was like, see you later kind of thing. But all of them, seriously, all of them, and that last day was like the best finish line I've ever had. There was obviously no finish line, but the place was packed to the rafters.
yeah.
DJs. We had a bagpipe player come in and play something that was just unbelievable. Like. And all in the club, all your family and friends, they all made it over. Whereas, like I mentioned, the Marathon Stop there, it's in the middle of the Sahara. There's nobody there. Like, so it's just the best finishing day to anything I've ever done by a mile.
We'll obviously have your social medias in the show notes, but you do have that reel up as you're crossing it, and the gym is just packed of people dancing and cheering and making signs for you, and DJs playing and all the rest. It looks it looks like one of those bingo loco parties or something.
Yeah.
And just a couple of treadmills in the middle.
You can confetti cannons and everything.
No, I have to mention that the lads I'm actually working with them now. 2 lads, James and Darren. They hosted me for the whole month. The 2 lads and Chrissy as well is there. They were there every day. The guidelines for the world record. You have to have 2 witnesses every day. So the 3 lads were there every day. I just had to show up, get on the treadmill and run. They done all the cameras, all the social media, all the witness statements. There's a lot in that, the admin side of it as well. They done all of that, and I just had to show up, do the runs. So big shout out to them, because it was easy with that. Like if they went there, I'd be doing all that myself, and it'd be like, I think for me, especially at an admin, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll just do the runs.
He's torn into ChatGPT. That year or
full on conversations with ChatGPT.
It's absolutely amazing and a phenomenal achievement, and it is a world record, Ger.
Yeah. For sure, it is. We've sent off some of the stuff. That's again another big thing, is getting all that data, because every second of it had to be recorded, and uploading that data is a big job. So that's still in process. So it'll take a couple of weeks after that, but it's an official Guinness World Record. Yeah.
To apply for this, Ger, just so did you apply to 60 marathons, 60 days, or like, I've got this idea, and what was our previous record, 59 days? How does that part work?
Yeah, that one in particular was a previous record of 59 days. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Even the 60 days, everything just lined up perfectly, that way with the dates. But yeah, you can set records and you'll apply to set records, but this one was an existing record that we broke. Yeah.
Well, Ger, you're a ChatGPT whiz now. I believe you're bringing out a book. Did you write it, or did that write it?
No, I wrote this book. Honestly, it took 7 years to write this book. So I done that. It's about that decade, in 2017, or at least it started out as kind of notes for myself when I was over there. And I picked this up off Jerry Duffy, who I mentioned earlier. I remember he wrote a book about it as well. But after talking with him, he was saying he'd done a lot. He used like a dictaphone to, record a lot of his thoughts while he was in there. So he'd have them when he came home. So I thought it was a good idea, and I started taking notes. And then when I came home, then I started writing them down, putting them on a document on the computer. And it just grew into a bit of a monster. And I met a guy then at an event I was doing out here in Ballymun. He was a book editor, and we started working together, and all of a sudden it turned into a memoir. So, as part of that, to give it context, what I was writing about, I had to write about where I came from. Obviously, growing up in Ballymun, losing sight in my left eye, which I struggled with a lot of self-confidence and low self-esteem as a teenager, all that kind of stuff. And finding futsal, finding triathlon and using that as a tool to, improve confidence, things like that. And then the meat of it then is about that 10 Ironmans of 10 days race called Deca UK. And it's a book. Actually, as part of it as well, I used triathlon at this stage in my life to help me deal with the grief of losing my brother-in-law through suicide. So that was a big part of it. And the book was named "Gotta Keep It Moving." It was the name of my brother-in-law Mick. It was the name of his favorite song by Bugsy Malone. But yeah, so that was a big old journey. That took 7 years from 2017. It was only out, I think, 2023. A lot of effort, a lot of imposter syndrome, feeling with a lot of that kind of stuff whilst writing the book. And but it was almost like therapy, and helped me again, like sport, helped me build my confidence over those 2 years. And it was probably my biggest achievement, getting that book out.
Can we still buy that book now, Ger? Is it available online, or how do we get a copy?
Yeah,
I'll
you
get
get
Sean to read it to me. He has a beautiful reading voice.
Yeah, no, you get it on Amazon. It's on all the Amazons. I think it's on Amazon.ie now as well. I'm gone back when we released it. I don't think it was available at Amazon.ie, but it is now. So you used to have to buy it on .co.uk, but Amazon.ie or any of those kind of European Amazons, you get it on there. Yeah.
And Jerry, you also mentioned that, and we're so enthralled by the events, what you guys are doing in the club. But you did touch on that you are the reason this 60-day timing was so good was you ended a 21-year relationship with a gym in Ballymun. You moved on to something new. What is the new thing you're doing? How do people follow you around your show
Yeah.
up at your house? What is it you're doing now? What made it so special?
Yeah, no, it was like I said, things. I'm a firm believer things are meant to happen when they happen, and through 60 marathons of 60 days, we called it Mission 60. Actually, I managed to the lads asked me to come and work with them, so now I'm working with the guys in Gym Live, and what we're doing is working on bringing like professional level coaching to amateur teams, grassroots teams, in an effort across all sports, by the way, in an effort to try and raise the level and standard of our, not only footballers, swimmers, everything else across the board. We have an app called the Gym Live app. We're working on that at the moment. We've just lots of stuff going on. We're testing runners, footballers, trying to give them an online profile. You ever see the like on FIFA? If you ever played FIFA, you'd have like
Yeah. The avatar.
we're doing tests for kids now at the moment, and what they'll get on their profile, their Gym Life profile, is like a spider graph, and you can see their speed, their accuracy in terms of shooting, or if they're footballers or sorry rugby players, their power, lots of different kind of metrics, and they can kind of improve them over time as well. Like, so it's really exciting time with Gym Live at the moment. I'll be doing a lot of testing for adults as well, VO2 max testing. We're bringing that into the lab, the Gym Live lab. So just lots of stuff coming at us. We're doing lots of stuff with DCC and Sport Ireland as well. So lots of contracts coming on board as well. So really exciting. I'm really excited to see what we can do with it. And big shout out to the lads in Gym Live.
And is this something that's only going to be done through government bodies? Can parents who are listening, who are thinking, maybe, and we talk about raw talent, and sometimes with kids, you can see there's raw talent there. If parents are there going, what? I want to give them every opportunity to see where they go or see, can I help them develop without putting pressure? And I think that's an important thing. Can parents get in touch?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's about gaining access, giving those kids access. Like us out here in Ballymun years ago, back in the 80s, there's nothing obviously like this. But even in terms of clubs, there wasn't that many clubs. Now there's loads of clubs. Now there's lots of access to information out there. So we're trying to bring it all to them. We're working with a couple of youth clubs at the moment, Finglas United. I know we're going to try and do a bit here with our club as well, just about bringing that professional level training and testing to them and see can they improve themselves over time as well. So yeah, people can get or even individuals can access it as well by contacting us at Gym Live. So yeah, like we've just started pushing it out now, and as I said, it's already, people have seen some of our testing on the Gym Live socials, and they're all over it, like, but if you can imagine as a youth footballer or a youth runner, getting to see your profile up on social medias or the Gym Live app, it's just going to be, I think, incredible. I think it's going to explode.
I just had to break one more leg and I would have been on FIFA. I just wasn't brave enough to do it. But it is going to be something that would be absolutely amazing. And we again wish you the very best of luck with that. And again, Sean will have those details in the notes. Dean, when you have such an ambassador, an icon, and I don't say that lightly, Ger, and a fantastic athlete and someone who can inspire the next generations, what's next for the athletics club? How do we keep encouraging people to get involved with the likes of you guys, showing up on the runs? And a lot of times people find that first run is the hardest, the very first session to show up and to meet new people. What encouragement do you have, and how do people get involved to be around great people like yourselves and start running?
Yeah, like look at Jay, for example. Like it's inspirational, isn't it? Really, like in terms of like inspiring. Like he's probably the most, like when you look at underrated footballers, and we talk about, like, he's probably the most underrated athlete that we don't even, like, we just take it for granted what he's actually achieved and what that does to inspire people. I think, yeah, it's like we'd love if clubs could even just attempt to go on that journey of that financial model. Like, I'd love someone to even contact the club to be like, we're trying this in bloody Galway and it's working, or it'll always come with its challenges, but that'd be something that we'd love to see even other clubs even attempt it, nationally, just to remove them financial barriers. But for ourselves, yeah, like we've learned a lot. Like we've learned so much, and we've different people in different roles and structures in the club changing. And as I said, it's all about the people, really. If we don't have the people, we don't have the club, and people willing to give that time and the right people. We've landed on the coaches and the committee being the right people. It's been a blessing in that sense. Like, so. But yeah, it's very much just an open door. We have, we always go through this conflict in the club, don't we? Like, what are we? What's our identity? Are we this community-based social club, or are we an athletics club? Like, we would see our kids as a competitive athletics club, and then our adults are probably a little bit different. It's more kind of road running and more socially focused. The majority of adult runners are in that space, so we always have this passion or conflicts all the time. Like, what are we? Like, I think once we're inclusive and accessible to everybody, there'll be a pathway for everyone, regardless. So whether you're, getting off the couch to do our Fit for Life program you never ran before, right up to sub-3 marathon running, and really tailored kind of training plans for marathon, or we've kind of a pathway for everyone. I think that's where we have the luxury, but we keep the values of being a community-based club, and that we're open and accessible and inclusive of all. I think once we have them values alongside a pathway for everyone, we can't really go wrong.
And Dean, people listening to this, they might pick it up on Instagram. They might have a pair of shoes with a bit of dust on it. When's the best time for them to put them shoes on and come and meet you guys? And where can they find more information about you?
I suppose, yeah, our Instagram, we've a new website, ballymunathletics.com. Kind of Nicola, who covers our social media, she's really active and trendy, and she's on TikTok, and she's everything and anything in terms of that's where people are living. They're living online, and that's where they're going to be engaged. So I think that's kind of something we've got really good at in terms of the social media side of things. But just reach out, just walk into our club. Like, we're here every morning, Tuesday to Sunday from 6 a.m. and we're here twice in the evenings then. Our weekend sessions are a bit later as well, 7:30. So just pop the head in. Like, there's no good time, just the time is the time. Like, really there's an open door, and there's a pathway for everybody.
Absolutely brilliant to listen to you guys over the last hour, and the stories you have, and just everything you're doing at Ballymun AC is absolutely brilliant. We will have all those links in the websites and your both your social media links as well, your Instagrams and stuff in the show notes. And that is it for this week's episode of the Any Given Monday podcast. Myself, Dean, Ger, and Eric. Take care.
Thanks, guys.